Aaron Murray, and he's nice enough to join us. You've seen him on ESPN, but go ahead and check out the Snaps podcast because the breakdowns are really cool and seeing it through his eyes. Aaron, how are you, sir?
Doing good, man. Just been a good first 2 weeks of the season. I know, especially for you Tennessee fans, the excitement is real, and excited for another weekend this weekend as I myself get off to Arkansas and check out their pretty, what I would consider a pretty special quarterback.
Yeah, neat stuff. All right, can we start with the breakdown of Nico Iamaleava? What did you think of Nico as opposed to what you may have expected from last year?
Well, I mean, I was expecting a really good quarterback, no doubt about it. And seeing him in the bowl game, checked off a lot of boxes. You know, good arm. He's obviously good size, really nice athleticism in and outside the pocket. I just wanted to see a confident quarterback. I think that's the hardest thing for young quarterbacks is just to have the confidence that, like, I belong. I can play in big time games. And then also, like, I can make a mistake and then be able to bounce back from that. Like, do I go into a shell? So, like, I think those were a lot of things that we weren't just sure was Nico ready to go. Like, a bowl game is a bowl game. They're fun. They're great and all, but like, that's not a real season game where like the wins and loss truly matter for a team like Tennessee. That is a legitimate playoff contender and maybe one of the better teams, if not the best team in the SEC with how well he could possibly play this season. So, seeing him, especially in week 2 versus NC State, make mistakes, bounce back, and continue to take chances and not hold the ball either. Like, that's something too that with a quarterback that maybe hasn't had a lot of reps in the game, you see a guy waiting for someone to get open, and Nico's just letting it rip, man. Like, he's seeing green grass, he's seeing the field really well, and he's just letting it go to his spots, allow his receivers to make a play. So to me, he looks very much more mature as a quarterback than probably what he should be at the moment.
Aaron Murray, nice enough to join us. You know, I got to say this, hit the like and subscribe button. Aaron, I'm sure you say that from time to time. Caleb?
Yes. So, Aaron, great to see you talking to somebody who basically, as a Tennessee podcast, shattered a lot of Peyton Manning's SEC records when he was playing quarterback. And I am thinking, after following snaps a little bit, may surpass Peyton Manning as a former SEC quarterback turned broadcaster one day. But, yeah, there we go. Aaron, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Nico Iamaleava's Heisman chances. We're already uttering the word for those of us who cover Tennessee. Is it too premature, or what have you seen so far? No,
I don't think it's too premature. I mean, he's in an offense that he's going to shine. He is athletic, so he's going to get yards with his legs. I think that's another thing that, like, we all love. I love the pocket quarterback. I love all quarterbacks that can do a lot of things, but to me, the guys that have a real chance to make a splash when it comes to the voting in New York is, can you have one Heisman moments, like wins in big time games, which Nico is going to get that opportunity, and then 2 like Heisman type plays, like think of Johnny Manziel, think of Cam Newton, and it's not just throwing the football, but getting in outside the pocket. Then all of a sudden you make a couple guys miss and you're throwing a 50-yard touchdown, or you're running it for 20, 30 yards. Like, he's going to get those Heisman-like moments with his arm. He's going to get the Heisman-like moments with his legs. It's a really good offense. It's a really good defense. And then we talk about like Heisman opportunities or games. He's going to get that. Well, like next week on the road against Oklahoma, probably 2 undefeated teams going against each other. Like, that's an opportunity in the national spotlight. A lot of fans are going to be excited about the whole Heupel back in Oklahoma thing. Oklahoma in their first SEC game as well. Then you're going to get Alabama at home, which is going to be a hyped up game. Then you're going to get Georgia on the road. And if you're an 11-1 team, which they are more than capable of being an 11-1 team, you're going to be in Atlanta. So then you get another opportunity to showcase and probably the best conference championship game. So he checks off a lot of boxes where I would suggest to Tennessee fans and to media, you start that hype train now, because he's good enough to be in that conversation if he plays the way he's played the first 2 weeks of the season.
Aaron, you were the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia, and you were very successful. So I imagine there was some Heisman talk around you in the preseason and early into the season. With social media and all that nowadays, I guess you try to avoid it, but how do you avoid that nowadays?
You go like the Stetson Bennett routes and get a flip phone. I love that. Just get the flip phone, get rid of the iPhone for 4 or 5 months and just focus in. I think that's really the only way you can do it. Unless you these kids do have some money nowadays, and maybe you pay someone to run your socials, like run your Instagram, your Twitter, your TikTok, whatever else you have. That way, when you do get some sort of endorsement deal through NIL, you can hit those obligations without having to actually do it yourself. So, that would be my suggestion. Like, I'm not going to get rid of my iPhone. I think Stetson went extreme on it, but hey, it worked for 2 national championships. So I guess I'm somewhat wrong in this answer. But Nico's got plenty of dollars to have someone run his social accounts where he's not having to worry about being on it and seeing things and being distracted and all that. And it's tough nowadays. I mean, we were all 18 to 22. I know you, as an old fart, you didn't have a cell phone when you were 18 and 22. And I was at the beginning stages of Instagram and TikTok. It is difficult because, listen, we all have egos. We play quarterback. We play college football. He's been a 5-star his whole life. You want to get on some of these social medias and see the praise. You want to see people talking good about you. But guess what? As soon as you throw a couple picks and if Tennessee loses a game, those same people that are talking good are also going to be talking bad. So it's finding the balance. But I'm sure Nico has a good nucleus of people around him that's hopefully going to help him out throughout the season and during the his time as quarterback at Tennessee.
You realize what you just said about having somebody manage your social media is brilliant. I would highly suggest that. One of the things that Josh Heupel said about Nico after he threw what I thought was just an errant ball, which was intercepted. I get your thoughts on that. But he said that he could just read his body language and he wasn't concerned about going back to the well with Nico. I notice a calm, cool, collected guy, and I don't want to overread anything in a body language, but what do you read into that, if anything?
Well, it's huge. I mean, listen, you want your quarterbacks to make mistakes, not consistently, like not all the time, but I was at an event this about a year ago, and Rondé Barber was there, and so was Matt Ryan. So Rondé played cornerback for the Bucs. Matt Ryan played obviously quarterback for the Falcons, so they played each other twice a year. And Rondé, they're up on stage talking, and Rondé was saying like how one of his favorite plays was a pick 6 against Ryan. Matt, like he remember like watching the tape and was ready to go. He picked it off, returned it, whatever. And then Matt gets up there and responds and is like, listen, if you're afraid to make a mistake as a quarterback, you're never going to be successful. And that's like, what I talked about before with Nico. I see a quarterback that is confident in the system, a quarterback that is confident with his abilities. And right now he's letting it rip, which you're going to get some pretty amazing plays. Like the play I diagram from week 1, like that dig route, that dagger route where he threw it over 3 linebackers into a hole was just unbelievable. Like you see NFL guys that can't make that throw, but you have to have the confidence to let it rip, because if you second guess yourself, that's when you start making mistakes. But on the other side, when you do have a guy that is throwing with anticipation, a guy that is playing with confidence, he is going to make mistakes at time. You cannot take away the aggression from Nico, though. He's an aggressive style quarterback because he trusts his arm, he trusts his system, and he trusts his receiver. So for a guy to make a mistake like that, being aggressive, and then say, you know what, I'm going to come back out and continue to be aggressive and then hit squirrel right down the sideline with an absolute pearl of a football, show me everything I need to know about what he has on the inside to be able to go forward and play Oklahoma on the road, to play Alabama, to play Georgia as well later on in the season.
Aaron, I wanted to play off that real quick because that's actually a great point I said that you made that plays off something I said, which is I want to know your thoughts. You've seen Hendon Hooker play in Tennessee's office. I'm sure you saw Joe Milton. I feel like Josh Heupel's taking more risk with Nico than he took with those other quarterbacks already. Am I just seeing things, or did you see that too?
Well, I think Joe is very inaccurate. I mean, it's hard to take risk and do things when you have a quarterback that's not very accurate. Hendon.
Guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Hendon took shots. I mean, like, listen, go back to Tennessee 2 years ago. They were pushing the ball vertically down the field over and over and over and over again. But like, if you're going to say, hey, pick one of these 3 quarterbacks, who are you going to take today? Nico's the most gifted. I mean, maybe Joe can throw the ball the furthest and Joe's the biggest, like just sheer size wise. But Nico is the most natural thrower of the 3. Hendon is an incredible leader. Hendon had great touch on the deep ball as well. He had an incredible season. If it wasn't for the injury, he would have been in New York himself. So like, not taking anything away from Hendon Hooker, but Nico is the best combination of them. I want to see the leadership aspect, which is kind of tough to do when you're a redshirt freshman. Like, that's what Hendon was really good at. But as a quarterback, thrower, runner, being able to make the intermediate throws, being able to make the deep throws, Nico is the best of the three, no doubt about it. So I think Heupel is saying, listen, I have a really good receiving core. I believe heading into the season, this was a top 3 or 4 offense line in the SEC. Obviously, Sampson has been really special at the running back position the first 2 weeks of the season as well. I can take chances. And then throw on top of that, this may be the best defense Tennessee's had in the Heupel era as well, which gives you even more confidence as a coordinator and a head coach to go out there and be aggressive with your offense.